Right, this morning, my washing machine was overflowing with water. So I've done the job and I've made this video. I'll just show you what was going on. Every machine, I'll say this over and over again, I apologize in advance, but every machine is a little bit different, right? So you'll probably need a wrench and a couple of screwdrivers, Phillips head, flathead. You don't need to know the exact model, by the way. You can figure all this out on your own just by using your head. So basically, problem was that this thing filled up. The water level went over the tub and it flowed onto my floor. It was just a complete mess. So what I'm going to do is show you how to disassemble this washing machine and do some troubleshooting. In a nutshell, just to give you an overview, you can, I'm going to link a video in right now that shows how to take the whole assembly or how to disassemble the entire unit. I'll link that. Just watch that. You can watch it in more detail. I'm not going to bother repeating here, but you would either pull the whole frame of this machine off, or I'll show you later how to pull the back off. You'll do that depending on what the model is, basically, and I'll talk about that. And then the key culprit is probably right here. This is the water level switch. You can hear it clicking. The first things first, I'll talk about turning off the water later, but pull out the electrical cable from the wall. The water level switch is setting a level for air pressure that builds up in the unit as the water fills up, and I'll talk about this in more detail. I'll show you the hose. So water fills up, there's air pressure that builds up. Low pressure will turn off this switch turn off the water inflow switch when the load is small and medium and large at higher pressures, okay? If this switch has failed, simply replace it. I don't talk about that later, but if it has failed, just replace it and go to part shop. There might be a hose problem with the air. There might be air flowing out of either end of the hose, which doesn't allow the air pressure to build up and activate the switch. And in the back there are there's the two hoses, the hot cold water coming into the unit, and there's this switch activates a valve that turns off. It turns off the water flow. So if or the valve itself might be damaged, in which case it stays open and the water flows through and overflows the unit. Or the hose that goes from here down to the bottom might be blocked, not allowing water pressure to force the air pressure into this unit, or it might be disconnected, right, which means there's no air pressure being built up whatsoever. And just check all those things. So I ran there's the three reasons why this could happen, and I'll go through each of them. All right, remove the little lock on the top. Just pull it and it'll pop off. Every unit's different. Just take a look. You can figure this out. Mine has a screw on this side, on the opposite side, a mirror image. Just undo that screw, and then once it's up, and again, refer to my other video, but once it's up on both sides, there are two kind of claws that come down into the top of this unit. Just take a long screwdriver like this one, put it in, and just pull it up, and it'll pop right out. All right, first potential cause for the overflow. So the way these washing machines work is, you can see this is an air pressure sensor in a hose. That hose fills up with air, or it is all filled up with air, and it goes down to the bottom of the tub, okay? So at the bottom of the tub, as the water rises, it compresses the air in this hose, and then it eventually, this switch is set to turn off at a certain PSI, okay, with the air pressure in that hose. And there's the three settings on most washing machines: small load, medium load, large load. So as the air pressure builds up very lightly, that means there's a little bit of water for a low load in here, and this switch will trigger at a very low level of air pressure, okay, because of low load. Medium load, higher heavy loads, there's more water building up and up and up, and it's creating more and more pressure in the hose. And at the medium and heavy load or large load settings, the switch triggers, okay? To test the air pressure sensor, there's two things. So one, remove the hose from this, and you want to look for any obstructions in the hose and simply blow into the hose, and you'll hear the air coming into the tub. Let me just do that. I think you can hear that noise. It sounds like an airplane if you're on the airplane. Right, so that is unobstructed. If you did not hear air coming through, then when you watch the rest of this video, you'll see how I go pull the tube out of the bottom of the tub. Just look for residue, clogs, and stuff like that. Okay. Second thing is you want to test this this unit. So what you'll do is either blow into it directly. It's really hard for me to get down here. I just cannot get my mouth on that thing. So what I've got is a little hose. I've got this hose fit on, and all I'm going to do is blow into the other end of the hose, and you can hear it click. That click means that the sensor is working, and when you hear the click, that will shut off the water intake valve, like I talked about before, so the machine will stop filling up. Right? Just a couple more times. Okay, so hopefully that's pretty straightforward. Look, when you're putting all this back together, again, I mentioned it, I'll mention it later, but this air hose is pretty important. Make sure that when you put the backing unit back on, or whenever you put the frame back on, make sure that hose is connected into the tub at the bottom, and then make sure the hose is connected here, okay? If it's not connected, there will never be any air pressure in the sensor. Your machine will never turn off the water, and you'll have the same problem. So you need to, after you've taken all this apart, you need to access the rear of the unit, and I'll just show a quick video of what it looks like. So we're going to be looking at the water, the hot and the cold water inputs, and to do that you need to get access to it. Now every washing machine is a little bit different. Some videos have units where this whole piece just comes right out from the back. Mine does not. Mine's like, I've got this entire metal panel that I need to get access to. So you can do this in two ways. One is take the entire frame, the body of the unit, just take it right off and pull it forward. And I've got in the video that I linked before, I show you how to do that. Or what I did was I removed this back panel. So this particular unit, just look at your unit. It'll be pretty straightforward. I have two little screws at the bottom. I removed those, and then once I got the control panel off, this whole piece just came off, and you kind of see how it's coming off now. Okay, so whatever way you want to do it. At some point, probably early on, turn the water off, and then get towels on the floor, because this is going to drain. And what you want to do is remove the hoses from the back of the washing machine, and the water will pour out of these things, right? So get a towel on the bottom. It'll be really, really messy. All right, there's the view of the valves that controls the hot water in and out. I want to take this all apart. So there's on this unit, every unit's going to be different. I'm sure you can just figure this out on your own, but there's a little screw right there. I'm going to remove that, and then the whole unit will pop off. If you want to take the whole unit apart, there's a little clamp right here on here, little tension clamp. Just undo that, pull the black water hose off, and then I'll show you how to remove these. The washing machine's a little different. This is what mine looks like. Yours will look something like this. There's a little tab. This one has a little tab in the middle right there where my finger is, so I had needed to pull this plastic bit up, and then I used a screwdriver just to pull that clip off. So remove both those clips. Then I want to check the valve for continuity. So if the valve is to work and actually turn off and stop the hot and cold water flow from going into the machine, it needs to have continuity from the water pressure sensor. So I've just hooked up a multimeter here to this. I don't know which input this is, hot or cold, but you can see the round shape. There's a valve in there, I believe, that just switches and it turns the water on and off. So I'm just going to hold up my multimeter right now. I set it to ohms continuity and 1,000 ohms of resistance. So that one works, that valve works. So I'll just swap the points out to the other two, the sensors out to the other 2 points. They're connected. Okay, I think over 900 ohms, and it's good. So these valves work. And if you had continuity lower than 900, 0, couple hundred, whatever, replace this unit. I removed the entire part. That's what it looks like. I also, just to check, I blew through that hose right there, and there was no airflow, meaning that the valves inside here, those valves are closed right now. So this is in the closed off position, right? So it wouldn't be letting water in. So I think that this part is fine. And then since I had this part off, I just cleaned the inside of the filter and got all the gunk off. This is how the air pressure sensor works. So this little part down here fills up with water, and it pressurizes air. The air just gets forced out of this little exit right there, and it goes into the hose, which I've just put back on, and that goes up to the air pressure sensor. And make sure that that's in and debris free. Mine is just fine. You can test this out for yourself. I set small load, connected all the water, the electricity, everything's still apart, but that's okay. And then I filled up the tub until I heard the click from the air pressure sensor that shut off the water flow. And what it did is it sent a signal to the two valves in the water intake to shut off the water. So everything was working fine. All right, there we go. So this switch is working now. It's set to small, and you can see there's just about a third of the tub full. Now, it didn't activate because there's another thing that, if your machine doesn't work, by the way, it's this. It's a little prong that goes into this over here, which is an activation lid activation switch. When I push it in, then the machine starts working. Anyways, that's another potential problem. Right, so this is going to start working, and that is the way it should work. The problem I had that I'm diagnosing and showing you now, I think that the hose that connected from the other end of that hose connected into the tub, I believe that probably just came off. All right, I'm going to put all this back together now. One thing to make sure that the hose is connected as you put the back on, or if you are reattaching the frame.